July 14th. What can I say? Today has been a rough day. Um, so yeah, let's revisit. Like I said, full transparency on everything that I do, all the trades that I make as I'm in my learning process to eventually become a successful day trader. Um, with that being said, as you can see, I'm on my dashboard. We got red for the day, unfortunately, but let's see what happened exactly. So let me go over to my trade log, and this is what we looking like. Real nasty out here. So even though this says July 13th, it was actually executed or ordered on the 13th, and I closed it out today. But we got T. Ended up losing 15 bucks, not very much money, so I'm not really too concerned about it. But the thing that frustrates me on it is I actually purchased it yesterday for 38 cents, and it got up to as high as 44 cents, which is good. I was like, I don't know, 30 bucks or so up for a small play. But I read my notes a little bit awkwardly, I guess, or notated them a little bit awkwardly, and I did not close it out yesterday. I let it ride till today, no problem. Beginning of the day dropped by like 10 bucks, no problem. And then it kind of trickled off after there, and eventually I just closed it, and right now I think it's down to like zero point 0.3 or something like that. Then I have a firm. This here was a revenge trade. I'll be honest. I'll call it a revenge trade. I was already kind of looking at it. I'm not going to really say completely a revenge trade. Somewhat a revenge trade, but also somewhat trying to go off of the information I'd already put and having a quote-unquote backup plan just in case it did not work out. So we'll visit that in a second. At the very top here, CRM, it did work out in my favor. Great. I only bought one contract, unfortunately, trying to just, like I said, gain that confidence back after having a bad start to the day. And then the second one here, PLTR, that's the one that really just smacked me across the face. If this one here, if I had played this one correctly, then this conversation would be completely different. So let's go to PLTR. I already got it pulled up, and this is what we're looking like. So as anybody that's been following along, I always have my white as my entry point, orange as my target one, and then purple as my full on. At that point, I'll 100% get out. So beginning of the day, Palantir got on a roll. Cool. I went ahead and entered. But as y'all see, we're kind of building up this momentum. So option prices are, a little bit higher than what they would normally be. So I bought in at 315, pretty much right at the line here. As soon as I bought in, stuff kind of trickled down a little bit, and it got down. So I think as low as maybe like 260 something. And I panicked. I did not stick to my game plan. I did not. One thing I'm gonna start doing that I've kind of learned off of this, like I said, I put an entry, a target one, target two, but I need to start putting where, if this plays out, where am I going to have my official quote unquote stop loss at? At what actual underlying stock price am I gonna say, hey, I gotta get out of this? So let me go down to the 15 minute. So if you look at the 15 minute, like I said, I pretty much bought right around here. It dropped down, and then, for a hot second. But if I were to go back and look at this, my entry was 130.79. Based on the simulations I did on what the option price would have been at this very, very low point, the option price would have been, I think if I remember correctly when I was looking at it, well, it was right around, like I said, it was right around like the 265-ish, 270 area here. But anyways, just looking back at it, my stop loss, if I were to go back in, would have probably been closer to about maybe half of this bar. Half retracement of the bar. I think that's more than enough of a stop loss. and also to make sure I don't get tapped out. But long story short, literally within 5 minutes of me, I went back and looked at the times. I bought it at like, I don't know. When it comes to local time, I bought it like 6:59, or no, something like that. 6:59, I think it was. And then I literally sold it at like 7:05. I didn't even give it, 10 minutes to mature, see what happened. But it came, like I said, it came and dropped down very, very quickly. So I immediately kind of got that quote unquote fear in my head. And instead of giving it more time to mature and see what happens, I was on the 5 minute chart. So 5 minute chart, is jumping really quick. I should have just zoomed out to this 15 minute and been able to see like, oh, I'm still good. It's still at the very top of this bar. I don't have anything to worry about. But I was still looking at the 5 minute, and like I said, I ended up selling and obviously, of course, taking the L on it. Only for within the next hour for it to reach my full mark here. Like I said, I bought it 315. I thought about doubling down, got nervous on it, and then I just reverted course completely and sold. I always think about doubling down, but when you double down, there's always that chance that you're gonna, actually be wrong. But really, I should have just sat on it and let it do what it does. I bought two contracts at once also, which I probably should have just bought one. And then if it dropped a little bit lower, then maybe bought another one to kind of average it out, if anything. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. This is just me talking hindsight. So, like I said, within the next hour, it pretty much got up to my target 2 that I had set. And since then, it's came back down and actually gone back again. But it is what it is. If I had let this play out, I think when I looked at it from here to here would have been, I think the price went from like my 315 entry up to like 450, 460, maybe something a little bit more. But it would have been a great day. Like I said, if I just let it play out and mature. And, even here now, it literally came back down, bounced, and went right back up. But at that point, I'm just like, I'm good on it. So like I said, that was my elementary mistake. So let's go to T. So T, yesterday my entry was the white line. As y'all see, it got up a little bit above the white line. Cool. Let me see if my notes are still here. So my note that I put was weekly downtrend, possible broadening bottom on the weekly. So let's go to the weekly and see if I can see exactly what I was talking about. All right, so on the weekly, this was the bottom of the broadening formation. And I was like, okay, cool, we at the bottom, so it might jump up. That was my thought process for it going up. But then, like I said on my notes, I put weekly and I focused on weekly for whatever reason. I got caught on the word weekly. I didn't read the word downtrend, or I didn't register the word downtrend. So I was playing this as if it was going to be a swing trade. Buy it today, sell it in 3 or 4 days. When I literally put in my notes weekly downtrend, but for whatever reason, my brain did not register the downtrend part. All it registered is, hey, we've already hit the bottom side of the broadening formation, so it should probably, stay to the upside. That was my thought. And like I said, it didn't turn out well for me. Ended up losing a little bit, not too much. But I should have sold yesterday, and I would have made me a few bucks. But, full transparency, I'm only 2 weeks in now. I really started trading like January 1st, then had a lot of days off going into the holidays, and then hopped back in, had some personal stuff I had to deal with, and hopped back in again. So this is pretty much my second week really of trading. So yeah, caught a little L on this. What was the other one that Affirm? Let's go ahead and review this real quick. So Affirm, got a lot going on here. So Affirm, my initial note, 3-1 on the 4 hour. I use the strat for anybody that didn't know as far as finding my plays. So 3-1 on the 4 hour. Let me go over to the 4 hour so y'all can see exactly what I was looking at. So I put 3-1 4 hour time frame, which is this downward, because it was downward for the last hour, for the last day, and for the last week at that time. But what I did not check is pretty much worst case scenario. It was down, but it was down by like that much. It was literally right borderline. So what ended up happening, let me go back to the hour time frame. So I ended up buying when it came back down and dropped to here. It then came down like cool, you know, everything looking good. I'm up a few percentages on the trade. I'm looking for it to get down further to this 81, 81.80 or lower range. And it just trickled, well, not even trickled, it actually just popped up real quick and got back above my entry point. And as y'all see, it's been going up ever since, because like I said, this is pretty much was that middle ground between flipping the green or coming down and flipping the red. So like I said, I probably shouldn't have been in this trade at all. I kind of already mapped it out and was trying to play off of my previous points that I put, because I was like, okay, you know, this was my area that I found to be resistance previously, because it capped out here a little bit, it capped out here a little bit. Looking back, it dropped down here a little bit to this area, but this was like the resistance / support point. Once again, resistance. Oopsie, moved that a little bit. Didn't mean to do that. So as y'all can see, that was kind of the resistance / support line. So I was like, all right, it's back under there by a good little bit. Let's go ahead and keep it pushing down. And you know, it ended up just bouncing and coming right back up. It is what it is. Shouldn't have been in the trade most likely at all. But hey, keep it pushing. And last, what was the last one? The last win for the day, CRM. This was the second trade that I did, and it's pretty much done exactly what I kind of expected. But I bought in here right when it was crossing. Cool. And it's still been pushing up ever since. We still have, it's 9:35, 10:35, 11:35, 12:35, about 3.5 more hours in the day. But it's continued to push up. Unfortunately, my stop loss got hit. Y'all know I'm trying to work on not setting my stop loss as tight. But it's still a work in progress, especially after you have a loss. Then, you know, I was a little bit more like, hey, I gotta secure something. That was my thought process. Let's see where this is at right now, if I can pull it up real quick. So that CRM play, let me see if it's still on my list. No, it's not on my list anymore. The CRM was for the 172.5. So right now it's up to 290, and yeah, or no, I had the July 24th, I think. I played it a little bit further out. But anyways, y'all get the point. I pretty much, nope, it was a 717. So that's you know, even more so a slap in the face all that would. So it is what it is. That 172.5 that I got it at, it is up to 290 now. So it literally would have been at 100%. But you know, it's all still learning. I still feel that I'm on the right track as far as my plays, but my emotional and mental needs to catch up to the actions that I'm putting in for the day before, the practice, the training, the preparation day before, my mental on the day of needs to catch up. It's like being a quarterback. In practice, you hitting every single throw, boom, 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 boom. 20 throws in a row, they all on the dot. And then you get in the game, running the same plays, and then you just having a horrible time. That's pretty much how I'm feeling right now. Um, but it is what it is. We're gonna keep pushing onward and upwards. The change that I'm gonna make moving forward is very simple. When I get into a play, I'm going to set my stop loss from the jump. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But this is just to keep my mind from worrying about what I'm gonna lose, because at that point I've already made up and decided what I could potentially lose. And once I'm in, I'll just let it play out. And as it plays out, I will at least let it ride for 15, 20 minutes before coming back and making a decision on it. That's going to be what I'm going to try or attempt to do moving forward. Starting tomorrow, it's a new day, so let's see what happens. But yeah, that's my update for the 14th. Not the best day, but overall we're still up by a little bit. So green is always good. Green is always positive. But just kind of one of those days. Gonna go and rest a little bit, make myself some food, decompress, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow.